Hey y'all, welcome to the T-Work podcast, hosted by Grant Banko and me, Adam Moreau. From entrepreneurs and athletes to the rat racers of corporate America and those who refuse to be put in a box, we want to share their stories and understand how they ended up where they are. Success and development come in many shapes and sizes. We want to hear about it all. So grab a drink and pull up a seat. Let's spill some tea and get to
Welcome back to the T-Work Pod. On with us today is Denton McNamee. He is the pitching coach at Lindenwood University, a D1 in St. Charles, Missouri. Denton has had a pretty cool background in the baseball world. He played at Rockhurst University. He is a St. Louis native, also spent time in the player development realm with the Houston Astros, was a Division II pitching coach at Maryville, and also has worked entrepreneurially in the private sector as a co-founder of Elite Baseball Academy. So you name it in the baseball world, Denton's pretty much done it, which is part of the reason we were so excited to have him on. He's done just about everything, worn every hat, pitching coach and pro level, college level, worked with youth all the way up to guys who are in the show currently. So Denton, we appreciate you having you joining us today, and
Yeah.
we're excited to hear what you got.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, and part of the reason for my stuttering, I am going to blame it on something, is in the middle of that intro, I got joined by Minnie here.
Yeah.
She started jumping and pawing at me, and I heard my other dog Brinkley coughing in the background.
Yeah.
So I think when I said welcome, they thought you were at the door. So I guess we have a couple guests joining us today.
Yeah, I did see Stitches kind of walk away, sadly, away from the door.
I did too. Yeah, that's what I was looking at while he was talking.
I heard those paws in the background. And Denton, probably most importantly, not something we've ever actually talked about. Do you have a dog?
I do. Yeah, I was going to bring it. It's a nice little intro there. I think that's where we should start. I have a 135-pound Great Dane.
No way. How haven't we talked about this before?
Yeah. And she's 3 years old. Interesting enough, when I was going to buy her, I was going to get two.
Okay.
And I mean, we always had multiple dogs when I was growing up. And my parents were like, you can't do that. Like, you have to get one, like, see how it is first, and then you can go two. Because Great Danes, I mean, it's another human in the house. And she sleeps in our bed, which is not ideal. Having three people in there, and it's and the other thing is, like, I like the Great Dane because it's like, okay, they're mellow, they're lazy, and she is the complete opposite of that. Like, face all the time, wild. She loves to tear up leather shoes. So I'm out,
Specifically leather.
Yeah, only leather shoes. My nice dress shoes. So I don't have any dress shoes anymore. So it's all Nikes, Nike Air Jordan.
Yeah, I would love to stick on the topic of our dog. So I suppose the last question is, what's her name?
Meadow.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Super unique. But maybe segueing us at least into the baseball world is, you say, so see you later, leather shoes, all Nikes.
Correct.
Maybe the hardest hitting question I'll ask all day is, why is every pro ball coach's shoe game off the charts?
Yeah, so like when you get there, they give you like your New Balance Turfs or whatever. But those just stay in the box. You don't actually use those. And I'll give credit to the head coach I was with, Ray Hernandez. And he learned it from the manager he was with the year before. But he was like, man, if you're going to coach first base, if you're going to, coach third base, go on mound visits, do whatever, like, you have to have nice Nikes on. So like pre-season, we ordered like 2 or 3 pairs to go with our uniforms, and that's all we wore. And then coming home, like, I had 3 pairs, and I'm like, all right, like, let's start a collection. So now I'm at, I think, 16 pairs.
And are they all Jordans? It's 16 pairs of Jordans, right?
Yeah. Yep. 16 pairs of Jordans. Yep. And It's going to be tough this year because like we're Under Armour at Lindenwood, so like I'm not going to be able to wear them on field. But yeah, I just think it's part of the culture a little bit, and every team kind of has a different way of going about it. But you see all those big time school like UNC has their their Jordan connections, and you see all with those. But yeah, I think it's just part of it.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, I got to see it firsthand. Heck, we were at Wake Forest for a seminar, and you busted out at least two different pairs. You had a sick pair of red ones, or red accent, and then you had
New
the
white
black
and
and
gold.
golds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, those are brand new too. So
Yeah,
those are just
and then I'm excited as promised when Lindenwood makes it to Omaha this year. I'll have the $1 a day custom pair.
Oh yeah,
coming in
dollar.
the mail for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what the betting laws are in Georgia or on college baseball, but I am ready for the Lindenwood program to appear in Omaha for the first time. I think that will pay out well in my favor.
Yeah. Yep.
I think you're gonna have to go down to Jacksonville for that betting line.
Yeah, that's what we have our bookie friend for down in Tampa.
Yeah. I'm staying out all away from the gambling aspect.
Hey, yeah, do your thing.
Yeah.
You're just observing conversation with friends right now.
I'm all out on that topic.
Yep. That's fine. That's fine. Just whatever. Yeah, we'll have the insider information stuff off books, right? That's off the record.
Yeah. Yep. off and
yeah.
No association. You're good.
All of that. Hey, everyone, all that's a joke. NCAA, that's a joke. That's not real. That's not real. You can look at all my accounts. I've never placed an official bet in my life. I just talk about it.
Yep.
I think those are two very different things. Banko, we won't talk about your habits.
Hey, okay. Well, you have placed a bet. You played blackjack one hand. You lost and said this is stupid. So
yeah, okay, yeah, that's my casino story. Whatever. I'm not into it. Stupid. Money down the drain. But
I'm in Tennessee. It's legal.
So Denton, now that we've already gone off the rails, maybe we'll try to get back on. So we talk about pro ball. You're back in college now. One of the questions you probably get a lot is what's the difference? And like there's no sense not covering that now. Like what have you noticed? Like you were in a player development role there. So I know you are dealing with a lot of like very specific projects versus now you are kind of managing an entire staff. So is like that what the biggest difference is for you, or is it truly like pro ball and college are just two completely different worlds?
Yeah, I mean there's a ton of differences. I was in a unique role. There was 6 of us, and they actually got rid of the role the year after I was there because it had so much responsibility. We were in charge of being in the weight room, coaching first base, coaching the outfielders, working with the hitters, working with the pitchers. We pretty much had to be in every session throughout the day. So it was a little more like, hey, you're working with a lot of technology in the weight room and on the field, and then you're working with all kind of sides of the ball. Where college, I get to do my thing on just pitching, which is nice, kind of just having a narrowed focus on that. Another side is, in the minors, you're trying to get to the next step, rookie ball, low A, high A, double A, triple A, big leagues. So we're just kind of like a stepping stone to the end goal. So when I was in Quad Cities, we had, I want to say 65 players roll through. So you're working with the pitching coach from, rookie ball or, the spring training facility. So there's a pitching and a hitting and a strength guy there, and then they come to you. So it's like having that similar language, but also seeing where they left off and picking up, because you're just another stop. Now I have 20 pitchers on average that I get to work with, and I get to have them for years on end, where, Luis Garcia was a guy we had at Quad Cities, and he was there for about a month and a half, and then he's gone. Our first half team, we had, I think, 3 guys in our playoff game that started the year with us. So it was a whole new team. It was a different roster. An obvious difference is you have the, Latin American language barrier is another thing you have to work around. I think the biggest thing, though, for me that was hard for me to kind of get around is the aspect of winning is totally different. Like, we show up and it's about, developing, getting better, but there's no emphasis to win that game that night. Like, if we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. That's great. It just comes out to having better players, not necessarily like anything else. Like, we had better players. We had 11 big leaguers on that team. Like, obviously we're going to show up and we're probably going to win. And that was the hardest thing for me. Like, in college, you show up and you're trying to win every game. Where there, it's, hey, we just went on a 12-game road trip. Like, guys are kind of checked out or whatever. And we had a very unique situation. Like, I'd say my year was one of the most unique years you can have, because at Quad Cities in Iowa, our field was flooded all the way around. So we couldn't get into our field. So we played 2 months of road games.
Oh my God.
To start the year. So every single game we were on the road. So it was hard to have guys check in every single day when you're going through all that.
And you said you had 11 big league guys come off of that team that was on road games for 2 months straight?
Yeah. 11 guys have made the big leagues. Couple of them, Wilyer Abreu and Emmanuel Valdez, got traded to the Red Sox, and they made it there. Jeremy Pena and Luis Garcia are probably the biggest two. Jeremy Pena was there for like 85% of the year. He was one of the last guys to get called up. Yeah, from that to start the year and then to finish. Like, he got called up at the end and went to Fayetteville, and I think they made the playoffs as well.
That's just impressive.
We had Christian Javier was at Fayetteville, so the level right above. So we had big leaguers at pretty much all levels that year. I think Brian Abreu was at AA that year.
Yeah, and people wonder why the Astros were good.
Yeah. Chaz McCormick was another guy at Fayetteville. Like,
jeez. So
a lot of guys.
One of the things that, like, yeah, we could go down this pro ball rabbit hole, but like, you also have the third variable in all of this. Like, people talk about pro ball versus college.
Yeah.
But you also have the private sector mixed in. And you already mentioned that weird dynamic in pro ball where it's about like just getting guys better and moving them on. And you and I have had the offline conversations about how much you love competing to win with your eyes on the championship. But you also are an entrepreneur in the private sector. You were co-founder of Elite Baseball Academy. And like, the mission of that is to get guys better, where there is no real competition, right? Like, of course, like, you're striving to get better. So like, I'm curious now, like, let's bring that into the mix. So like, what's different for you there? Like, what are comparable features? Like, how do you tie it all together?
So I think the competition for me and my business partner were being the best at what we do. So like, we wanted to not necessarily have, we want the most clients or, the most income. It was more of, we want to produce the best athletes in our demographic in Missouri. And a side note of that is Missouri really has a great depth of people that coach at high levels. Like, you can look at a lot of minor league and big league coaches, and they came from Missouri. or they coached in facilities around Missouri, and it's wild to see. But for us, our driving factor of competition was we wanted to be better than the other facilities around us. You know, we wanted to produce the best athletes. We wanted to, you know, have the niche in St. Louis of, oh, they're producing with the force plates, they're producing the guys that are going to college and continuing to get better. And I think we're starting to see a lot of our guys starting to, you know, get drafted and play at a high level in college. And it took some time, but that was kind of the driving factor in competition for me. It wasn't like, oh, you're getting wins and losses. It was more of like, how well is the business doing? I think that's a big thing with entrepreneurship. And I think a lot of people just don't also, like, on a side tangent, like stick with it long enough to see those to bear those fruits. You know, it's the first 2 to 3 years are always going to kind of be tough as far as starting a business. It's those that make it through that tough period that you're going to start to see the, you know, the rewards from it. But yeah, that's one of the hardest things that I saw in the private sector, like pros and cons, is like, we're training these guys, we're getting them better, but then you have nothing to do with their on field. Like that's you can almost wash your hands and say, oh, that's up to the team's coach. Like, we got them to throw harder, we got them stronger. Like the on field success isn't really our end goal. It's getting guys better. But I think that's where we kind of differed, where we also wanted to see that on-field success for them because it resulted in college scholarships.
For sure. And one of the things, like, you brought up, like, yeah, performance, like there was certain ways you could tie it in, but I know you guys, maybe it's like kind of your niche or what sets you apart is the data you collect and then the like correlative performance tied to it. So like one of the things that you guys do that's so unique is the way you utilize force plates.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you utilize force plates and like what's kind of great for the baseball world or the performance training world is that specific aspect isn't as unique anymore. Like force plates have been a little more accessible.
Yeah.
But what really sets you guys apart is how you utilize them, how you implement them, and then the knowledge that you give the athletes coming off of it to set up their training systems. So, I mean, I'd love for you to kind of bandstand for yourself on that, just for a little bit, because I've found it extremely unique. So like, even if you want to like toot your own horn for a little bit, I'm all ears.
Yeah. And I'd say, before we get into that, I think the biggest thing for me in my career is, you know, being at the right place in the right time, but also surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. I think those are two things that I've really done well. I'll toot my horn on that end, is find smart people and, you know, attach myself to them. And I mean, you've met Jacob, and Jacob Buff was my co-founder with Elite Baseball, and the force plates is all him. You know, I walked into the office one day and he's like, hey, this was like year 2 of the gym. He's like, hey, we need to invest in some Hawken Dynamics force plates. And I was like, don't know what they are, but if you're in on it, let's do it. Like, let's buy them. I'm all in. I trust you. And he got them, started playing around with them, doing all this testing. And he created his own algorithm, his own way of assessing the athlete. And all I did was I just collect as much data and I sold it. So we got a pretty head start. Like you said, force plates are kind of out there in most colleges, pro, you know, strength and conditioning environments. I think a lot of private sectors are getting them now. But I don't think they necessarily know what to do with them on the development side. Mm-hmm. You know, it's more of a readiness score, or, a way to see like, oh, the arrow's ticking green or ticking red, like you're better or worse. There's not necessarily a direct correlation on lifts they're doing or on field performance. So we got a really good head start, in the data that we have is it would take people 10 years to collect that amount of data. So we have a really good head start on that end as well. But basically we made it to where you're able to see every test, like if you're getting her better or worse. And we correlated it almost to like a Madden score. Like everybody wants to see, hey, what's my overall score? What am I looking at? And we made it very digestible. When you're looking at a Hawkin Dynamics like jump scan, like you see the scan itself, but then there's 100 metrics you can look at, and most athletes, parents aren't going to know what that looks like. So we made it very digestible to the user. But it's basically 4 key metrics. It's fluidity, which is a mobility score. So how well you move in your hips, ankles, hamstrings. You have momentum, which is how quickly you get a hip extension. You have power, which think fast twitch, slow twitch muscles, how fast you're moving a barbell. And then strength, which is kind of the eccentric phase, but that's kind of how much weight's on the bar. And then we base all our programs on kind of your weakness, your injury risk areas. We improve those, and then we try and improve across the board. So an old standard of, hey, is this weightlifting program working, is, oh, my maxes went up, which that's kind of an old way of looking at it. I mean, if you probably shouldn't be maxing out every single month. So this gave us a way to show kids like, hey, you're getting better, even though we haven't maxed in 2 months or whatever. You're moving the barbell faster with velocity bar readers. You're doing other things. You're producing force better. It's just a way for us to, again, have a niche in the strength and conditioning realm, but also be able to sell it to athletes like, hey, this is what a big leaguer looks like on the force plates. And like with the percentiles on your guys' stuff, like kids like to see that, like, oh, I'm at a pro range, or I'm at a college range, or I'm at a high school range. And also it's really easy when, you say, hey, Astros players have jumped and used the same percentiles that we have. Like, it's really easy to sell to a parent at that point. But there's so much more to go with force plates that we haven't seen that's going to kind of change the game, especially at a pro level.
Right. And I mean, heck, all those reasons are why I've enjoyed working with you so much when it comes to Flex Pro Grip, because I know you've attacked a lot of these same problems from a different like point of view. Like you're doing it from the holistic athletic improvement, whereas Flex Pro Grip, we're looking at a very specific part of the body that's impacting guys, like, right, we're just trying to limit injury risk at the elbow. And I mean, that's why, like, whether it's data visualization, scoring systems, like, it's always fun to have these conversations. And like, I'm already excited for the next offline talk that we're going to have, but regarding like readiness and all that. So you talked about maxing. So maybe we'll make this personal for Banko in a moment. So Banko will hop on any lifting trend that pops through his algorithm online. So you said you're kind of changing the way you're assessing athletes. And I know Banko has gone through times where he's maxed out once every week. He's gone through times where he's done these insane, like, Russian lifting programs where he squats every single day for a calendar month. So like, have you been able to take what you're doing and apply it to like a washed up baseball player? Like, have you guys trained the weekend warrior at all yet, or are you strictly athletes at this time?
Yeah, so I mean, we have, it's tough to say, because like like one of our washed up athletes is Braxton Martinez, who's a minor league hitting coach with the Rays and just got done playing 3 years ago.
Okay.
So it's like, that's not really like, he's still an elite level athlete, you know. I mean, I've jumped on him. We've had a lot of coaches at the facility that have jumped on him. Buffa and I did our force plate plans the first few years, as far as, you know, I was, you know, low power, he was low strength, trying to see what exercises improve those the quickest. But not really as far as like really removed from sports. The biggest thing is like we're trying to improve, you know, injury risk and on-field performance.
Right.
So like, I don't know if it's necessary for somebody that's not looking, maybe if you're playing like beer league softball and you want to hit the ball farther or something like that, like we can probably go about it that way. But I would think if we jumped you and we put you on the right program, like you'll see improved performance. But are you going to look in the mirror and be like, oh, you know, I'm shredded or whatever? Like, I don't know if that's where we're going.
Oh, and I know I'll add some context here. It's fully known that maxing in lower reps not going to give you the aesthetic weekend warrior look that you want. That's not the lifting program. It is solely to say that I am maxing this amount for squats or bench or whatever. It is not for athletic performance. It is solely for to be good at bench. I am benching. To be good at squat, I am squatting.
And that's the thing, right? Like to be good at, you have to do more of it. You know, like when I got done playing baseball, I sucked at benching. Like we never benched because we heard it was bad. So when I got done, like I benched 3 or 4 times a week and my bench went up. So it's like that side of it too.
Yeah.
Actually going down that rabbit hole, then everyone that played baseball, I think in our age group, got the do not touch a barbell, do not do shoulders, do not do overhead press, do not do straight bar bench. What's your viewpoint now that you've sort of worked sort of in that private sector realm in pro ball and sort of more studies have come out? What's your viewpoint on sort of those things now?
I think the bad thing is it's still don't barbell bench, don't bench. Like even pro guys are like, oh, I don't want to do that. Stay away from that. All our programs have dumbbell bench in it, whether it's flat bench, floor press, single arm, 2 arm, you know, eccentrics, pauses. I think the hard thing with barbell bench is like for whatever reason, when kids get under it, the form goes out the window and they just want to throw up as much because they never get to do it. But I mean, we've had programs where guys barbell bench, you know, safety bar bench where it's neutral. Like we do all of those. I think with anything, like I've always been on the other side, like don't get too narrow-minded or stuck in your ways. Like if someone presents to me with, you know, evidence that this works, like I'll listen to them. I'm not going to shut it down. I mean, the whole thing with squatting, like ass to grass, parallel, you know, bending the knees, like what everybody's on a different side with that. Like I think every athlete's different. I think every athlete has different mobility restrictions. I think every athlete moves in a different realm as far as fast twitch, slow twitch, needs different things with different you know, velocity bar readers. You're working at different speeds. Like I've always been on the side of like don't knock it until you hear or try it yourself. So like you talking about all your different programs that you've done, like I mean, it's different for every player. It's different for every person. Like I'll never be stuck on one thing. We've just found with our force plates, and you want to get better at baseball, we have found this is the way to do it. But I think people always somebody's going to look at our program and be like, oh no, that's wrong. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, this is the study. This is what we do. If you still don't believe us, that's fine.
Yeah. I think if I can add something on there, even from my experience, because like I don't know if I have biohacked as much as Banko has, but I certainly try. Like I've tried anything and everything when it comes to improving my performance for baseball, which then like I was able to parlay into New Orleans Sports Performance Institute and then into Flex Pro Grip. Like, thankfully, enough of these deep dives have resulted in something decent. But I think, like, Banko's side, like, he said it perfectly. He benches to get good at bench. He squats to
Yeah.
get good at squat. Versus what you said, Denton. One of the things that I think you alluded to in slightly different wording. So you tell me if I'm wrong in the way that I perceive that.
You're
It's
wrong.
okay. All right. Well, then I'm sorry. It- what I gather from what you're saying is you're training with the adaptation in mind as opposed to training with the exercise in mind. It's understanding that you have a specific goal and whatever exercise or implement you use to get there doesn't necessarily matter, and it can change from individual to individual. But like saying that the barbell is the enemy or like going overhead is the enemy would be completely incorrect. It might be it might be the enemy, quote unquote, for a specific individual who maybe can't handle that, like the form it puts them in. Like maybe they're just super restricted, so they have to use a dumbbell, but you need to load that musculature in a certain fashion to get the adaptation that you're chasing. Would
Yeah.
that be correct, or am I still wrong?
No, that's I think another, like, relating it back to the pitching side is like plyos and weighted balls. Like that's not for everybody, right? And I think the issue we've gotten in the industry is we program the same thing as far as weighted balls and plyos for everybody when not all those people are ready, especially at the high school level. Like you need a necessary level of strength before you start ripping, weighted balls. But also, like, you look at your athletic profile on the force plates and you're low strength and you're not able to decelerate. Why would I give you an underload ball, speed your body up even more, and create even more issues? Like, I think we go in the strength and conditioning, pitching, whatever, is we get so stuck in this is what every guy needs when everybody's so different. And I think that's the key point of being a coach is like you have a program and then you start to see, how they move, how they are as an athlete, and we make adjustments as we go. Because one guy might be good on the barbell bench, another guy just can't get the form. It's like why risk it for our bang for our buck? Like, let's go dumbbells.
Yeah.
One guy. I mean, every year I coach, a kid comes in, he's like, I just don't do plyos. I don't want to do plyos. I never have. And it's like, all right, let's work around it. And then if as we get to know them, can start to say, hey, this is why we're going to do it. And they buy in. But probably not going to get to that kid if you force him to do plyos. But yeah.
So go ahead, Banko.
I was gonna try to take a step back a little bit with the force plates. I mean, you said that basically like the first time you got introduced to it, you're like, I don't even know what that is. I think a lot of people lack patience in seeing results. So it sounds like you're bought into the force plates and the sort of that training program.
Yeah.
Just to set expectations of like how long did that take you getting the force plates, working with it, seeing the data? How long did that take for you to sort of buy in and sort of actually start to talk about it in this type of detail, and sort of what has been your experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, at the start, I kind of was hands off, letting Buffa kind of figure it all out. And then my first buy-in was like, oh, wow, this is different than what I've seen anyone else do. And being an entrepreneur, starting a business, like this is the niche that we're going to be in. We're going to be data driven. We're going to give athletes a different perspective to how they're lifting. That was kind of my first buy-in. And then when I started to see the results, guys getting better month to month as far as their strength, guys starting to see the individualized aspect of it to where we really know, like, hey, this guy needs to focus on power. This guy needs to focus on strength. This guy's not ready for a main program because we have standards that you kind of have to meet. Like our average score is 50. If you're well below 50 on more than 2 to 3, like you're on a beginner program and you stay on that until you can get over 50. But also starting to see the correlations between guys that threw hard or, oh, they went through a throwing program after 4 months, they're throwing hard now. Like you can see on the force plate scan, like this guy should throw hard or he does. Like we've gotten to the point where a kid can jump and I can pretty much guess a range of how hard they throw off the mound or how hard they hit the ball, or what position they play. But when I started to see how quickly, like, not even high level athletes that we had, like just average athletes were getting better, that's kind of when I bought into it. I still don't understand it to the length that Buffa does. Like I'm still learning about it. But we've just had such a easy way correlating everything on the force plates to the field, that the kids love it. Like they instead of, hey, you're doing this exercise because that's in your program, it's you're doing this exercise because you're going to leg brace better. And when you leg brace better, you're going to throw the ball harder. Or, hey, you're doing this exercise because you're shortstop. You can't move well laterally, change of direction. If you do this exercise, that'll get better and you're going to get to that ball in the hole or to your backhand. So it's the buy-in for me was, man, all this stuff can correlate to baseball really well. Like we can sell this and get guys to commit to this, where a general strength and conditioning program, like obviously, yeah, you get bigger, stronger, faster, you can get better at baseball, but not every exercise other than squat, deadlift can really show that, like this is why you're doing, your lunges or, your box step ups compared to, a regular lunge, or, this is why you're doing depth drops. Like a lot of kids don't want to drop off a box. That's not cool. That's not fun, but you're doing that to improve your strength, your deceleration, and you're going to then throw harder. That's why you're doing it.
Did you guys make any mistakes in the process? Like, I'm curious, Banko, I don't know if you were about to say I drop off of more boxes than anybody on.
Well, I was actually going to say you gave that to me in a program. I did it for about 2 weeks and was like, I'm done. I'm moving on.
Like, oh, that's how everybody is. It's like they see certain exercises in a program and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to do an arm. I want to do an arm day. It's like, no, like this is where you're going to throw harder and trust the process, because it's easier when you're not seeing maxes and improvements. It's easier to buy into the program when you see like our force plate scores going up. It's like, okay, that program worked.
Yeah, adding some context to this maybe for Banko, why he even brings this up. He said he was squatting for the sake of squatting. He wanted to get his squat higher, so it was like you should probably increase your eccentric force production or your ability to decelerate the bar, so then you can transfer more coming back up. So I was trying to improve his RSI, his reflect, and as a result, I wanted him to do more depth drops and then translate it into a quicker ground reaction force time. He wasn't into it.
And he wouldn't buy in.
No.
Well, I mean, he also threw in some mobility things in there to mix it in, and I'm not a big mobility guy, so I was just like, now he's just sneaking other things in. I probably should buy into mobility, but my flexibility is probably the worst out of all three of us here, and maybe every athlete ever, but we'll see.
Yeah, but so Denton, I know I guess that's on me for trying to jump ahead of Banko's questions, but I'm really curious. So, like, he asked about patience. Now, like, to me, like, kind of peeling back the layers on that, like, I'm sure you had to have some humongous screw ups along the way, or like maybe like a false path that you went down that you thought might have been the answer. Like, are there any that really stand out to you that like were kind of like the fail forward, or like something that you saw and just like were like, well, that wasn't it. Back to the drawing board.
I mean, me personally, yes. Like that was the description of my whole baseball career. Was failures, failed programs, you live and you learn type of thing. And it kind of helped me understand what not to do more than anything, especially when we started our facility right out of college. I'd say as far as like training programs and things like that, I don't think it was much of, and I don't know if this is bad to say, like failures. It was more of like learning more efficient ways to go about things. Like our programs, like guys were coming in 3 or 4 days a week. They're getting their workouts in. They're getting stronger. They're getting more mobile. I just don't think it was as detailed as it is now, 8 years later. Or we had nailed down like this is the fall aspect, this is the winter aspect, this is the in-season spring aspect, this is the summer aspect. Like we didn't program it as well as we do now, to where we're managing the seasons, managing the workloads as well. But I think the one thing we've always prided ourselves on is like reducing injury risk. Like our guys like are on the field more than they're off the field. Like we're keeping guys healthy. So for me, like anytime a guy's healthy, it's a successful program. Yeah, like some guys might not have gained as much velo as they wanted, or done things like that, but we've always kept guys on the field. And that's the thing that we've prided ourselves on. But I wouldn't say there's like this massive, I guess the biggest failure is you start to see some scans on the force plates of like, man, this is like a really big injury risk candidate, and not getting him, not getting that athlete to a safer zone quick enough. But that goes back to you live and you learn as far as what exercise are better to get you there faster. Because like for us, a big one is super high power. So producing force super quickly and a lower strength, you're not going to be able to decelerate well, and it puts a lot of pressure on the arm. But it's like, you can't just get a guy strong overnight. Like it takes time. And that's something that I've had conversations with strength and pitching coaches. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, do you hold a kid back on the pitching side and say, hey, like you got to get stronger first before you throw hard? Because the kid, like I'm talking about now, like he was 82, 83, had super high power, super low strength. Like he worked out with us, got into a pitching program, and then all of a sudden he was up to 88. And then by the end of summer, he was up to 91. And he just didn't gain weight and strength quick enough to like stay healthy and accept that force he was producing at such a high rate that he got Tommy John that fall. And it's like, what do you do in those situations? It's like, man, we knew, we saw it, but we just couldn't do it quick enough. Like I'd say that's the failings that we've had is, you can't predict injury, but like seeing like, okay, it's there. Like, how do we fix it? Has been the hardest part.
So building off of that, I mean, so if you see a guy kind of make a jump like that, but he doesn't have the body, the gaining weight side of things. So I definitely struggled. Adam, being my roommate in college, saw me try every trick in the book to try to gain weight and put on mass, and never worked. And the one time it did, I got mono and lost it all in a month. So had no luck at all. I mean, so if you see that with a player and you're trying to help him gain weight, how do you help guide him through that, and sort of what's kind of your sort of thought process through that side of things?
I mean, yeah, the first thing is you kind of like relay what you're seeing on the force plates, like letting them know like, hey, this is a possibility. Like it's not set in stone that it's going to happen, but this is the importance of why we're doing what we're doing in the weight room, right? Like you're going to throw hard. You're a genetic freak. Like high fast twitch muscles is highly genetic, so like having that is a gift. it's relaying that, making sure that they understand so that they're taking care of their details. But weight gain's one of the hardest things as far as a coach, because they're on their own. They're in the kitchen on their own. It's expensive to eat a lot of healthy food. So it's like there's so many different factors that are outside of your coach's control. I've seen guys gain a lot of weight, a lot of good weight. But I've also seen guys that say, hey, I'm eating everything in sight, and they gain nothing. So for me, it's a pretty easy formula. Like, you eat more than you burn. And if it's not enough, you eat more and you steadily add another 100 calories. I think a lot of times guys go off is because, oh, I'm tracking everything. But then they get to the weekend and they don't track and they don't eat enough over those 2 days. Like, it's consistency. Like, it's consistently doing this, or they'll do it consistently for a week, not see any weight gain, and they'll stop for a couple of days and they'll get back on it. It's like, you have to be consistent with it. But I think that's the hardest thing is weight gain, because especially in the private sector, like, I'm paying for a pitching coach. I'm paying for strength and conditioning. I'm paying for a club team. Like, are they going to want to pay for a nutritionist? Probably not. So that's been one of the hardest things for me. And it's even at the college level. Like, we're not a Power 5 school with a nutrition table and a nutritionist and all those people on campus with us. So it's how much time do you have to get in depth with it, and how many of us are certified nutritionists to do it?
Yeah. And I guess as a coach now, do you do like a weekly weigh and try to at least have some say in the players,
Yeah.
and try to keep track on your end, try to sort of put some
So
owner on you as well?
We'll do body comp testing. We'll do all that. And then, we have the scale in the weight room, and it's constantly checking in on guys. But it's been the biggest thing that's probably blown my mind in my career. Like, I've had kids that at 100 like 6'5", 160, 170 pounds that can throw 90 plus. And it's like, they look at Tristan McKenzie and think, oh, I can just do that. Like, well, I'll just be him. And it's like, no, that's a pretty unique case. Like, you're not him. And they just don't get it, and they never will. And they end up getting hurt or having, off and on years, because they'll gain weight and then lose weight. And there's so much fluctuation. But then you also have kids that are throwing 85 that weigh 150 pounds. And it's like, dude, if you gain 10, 15 pounds, like, you might throw 90. Like, you don't know. Like, and they just won't gain it. I'll never understand that. Like, if you're 150 pounds, like, what percentage of big leaguers are 150 pounds?
Very few.
Like,
And, I mean,
2 people, maybe. Like,
yeah. They're the fastest guys in the league, right? Or like whatever. They're the most athletic. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Altuve weighs more than that. Stephen Kwan weighs more than that. Like, and those guys are short. Like, I mean, they're in the second percentile for height in professional athletics, but those guys do things that nobody else can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I think when you're private sector, pro is a little different. It's a little easier. Like, you have nutritionists, they're on those guys. You're I guess, an investment, like, you're signing them for large amounts of money. You're going to take care of them in that sense. Like, college and private, it's tough because one, the parents don't quite understand. Like, oh, my kid's eating everything, and you tell them to track, and it's 2,500 calories, and it's like, you got to be eating like 4,000. Like, you're 6'5". Like, come on. College, I think college, it's more of like, oh, I have a 6-pack. Like, I want to keep my 6-pack. More of like,
look good on the weekend.
More of that aspect. Like, we have a few guys like that it's like, you're 8% body fat. Like, you're 165 pounds. Like, let's gain some weight. Like, let's gain 10 pounds. I promise you'll still have a 6-pack if you do it the right way. Um,
Well, Denton, if you don't mind, I want to get a little more personal on this. Like, right, we've talked about a lot about what you've done in the private sector, touched on the pro, you've gotten back into what you're doing at Lindenwood currently. You're obviously juggling a lot, right? You've got a full staff to worry about. I know the headaches that you have with fundraising and just trying to run your own collegiate program, as
yeah.
well as wear the business manager hat. So like you got a lot going on. I'm curious like what you can go back to on the daily. Like what keeps you on task? What keeps you organized? Are there certain things that like you feel like enable you to like knock out all these activities during the day, like that puts you on the path to success?
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that question previously, and honestly, I've never really thought of that. Like what I do on the daily, like that gets me to that. So that's a
Mhm.
very interesting question that I could probably go on 3 or 4 different tangents here. So we'll pick the first one, and then I'll just have to hopefully remember the other ones that I had. The first one though, for me is I am, I guess, considered a high functioning introvert. I, in social settings, like I can be an extrovert. I like to like be around people, but it's very draining for me. Like everything that I've done as far as like a job, like being at the facility, I'm around 10 to 20 kids for 7 hours straight. I see 100 people. I'm constantly talking, coaching. Um, that for me is an exhausting thing when I get home. You know, being at the clubhouse, I'm around 40 different players, 5 coaches. It's a loud environment. Like, you know, I'm with pitchers for depending on indies, practice, whatever. Like I'm coaching a large group of 20 pitchers for hours at a time. Like for me, that's very exhausting as far as my mental state. Like one thing that I've always kind of gone back to is like just sitting down by myself and going through some things, like collecting my thoughts. I have journals all over the place. Like I have like 10 of these over the years that whatever reason I'm weird. I don't like to do like online stuff. Like I like to write everything down. It helps me remember it. But like just being in the office by myself sometimes, you know, going home and like decompressing by myself, knocking some things out as far as a checklist goes. Um, but finding that time is always tough. It's the schedules are so different every day, and like in season, I'm going, hey, I got to do scouting reports and all this stuff before practice, and then we have practice, and it's review video and review bullpens and get ready for the weekend. So it's always hard to find like alone time. But I think that's one thing that always going back is like take care of myself for a little bit and like energize myself. Like I use that like our Wake Forest trip. Like I use that as like a re-energizer thing. Like, hey, like I'm in a small group, I'm listening to other people talk, I'm not talking. Like that type of thing kind of reboots my system a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know how you guys feel. I don't know. Are you
Oh,
guys
I love that personally. Like I, as you know, you spent enough time around me to know that I don't really shut up. Like even in this setting, like it's tough for me. Like sometimes like yeah, silence is natural, but like yeah, we're on a podcast, so I try to keep talking. Like how many times have I talked over Banko already? Like this is it's something that I know I'm going to have to like work on in our own podcast setting. But like I totally get the time alone and like taking that time for yourself. Like for me, that's the weight room now. Like it's my way to like it's my personal therapy, I guess. Like yeah, like any therapy and sharing is awesome, but like for me, I know I am at my best if I have had some sort of physical exertion during the day. Like I feel like that's what piques my mind. I have my best thoughts there. I'm most creative. I mean, I know Banko's the same way. Like every morning for him, like I know coffee is a ritual for him. Like this, like yeah, you can go get a cup of coffee. I mean, in our case, hopefully tea in the future, but I know coffee for him, like, is this like it's a ritual that like I don't know if he views it the same way that I would like put it to words. Like, so of course I'm gonna let him share his own story, but like I view it for him as like um kind of like a comfort thing or like a little like micro joy that I've heard get tossed around. Like
Yeah.
it's something that makes him happy and brings him like this sense of peace and consistency throughout his day. Banko, take it away.
Yeah. Well, I'll first say I relate more to Denton than I do to Adam in personality traits. Living with Adam, he was a very big morning person. I would open my door and he would full go ask a million questions. And I was like, I do not want to talk right now. I need my mind to just think. And my mom always made fun of me growing up. I would get home from school, walk through the front door and walk immediately to my room and sit there in my room for 30 minutes just to decompress. So I completely relate to that. Coffee, I think you actually stole that from your fiance, actually, because she asked me one time about why do you go to Starbucks? And my answer was, just makes me happy. There's no other way to explain it. But I mean, so going back to that, I mean, a little bit though, with Adam feeling like he always jumps in and talking over me. I purposely stay a little bit quieter as well on the podcast because I actually listen to a lot of different podcasts. And one of the ones I listened to probably about a month ago, Alex Hermosi is a business guy and he was a guest on a podcast. And the host of the podcast sort of asked him, how do you like being on different podcasts? Like, what do you like? Not what do you don't like? And he goes, and his response was one thing that particular host did. I can't remember who the host was, but he's like, you don't immediately try to fill the silence. You pause for a second, you stay quiet, and that allows me to maybe collect a little bit more of my thoughts and add something, even if I paused. So I'm purposely doing that myself of staying quieter. So I am quieter naturally, but at the same time, I do try to stay quiet and let the guests sort of talk through things. That's just sort of my thought process as well. And that's why I've stayed quieter as well, for context, Adam.
So you're saying I'm worse than you?
Yeah, basically. I mean, in all aspects.
That's what yeah. No, and he didn't have to say that. We already knew that. I think that's a good point as far as like coaching goes. Like, I like to come back, look at the video, collect my thoughts, and then give a detailed answer. Like, I think a lot of times players and coaches think, oh, like I'm doing it now, like I have to have an answer right this minute, instead of giving it to him the next day and making sure that's the right answer. I think too often we just speak to speak, and it's like, because my wife is an extrovert, likes to talk, asks a lot of questions, and sometimes like I just listen. Like I might not have an answer right now, but like I'm listening, and that's kind of where I'm at as far as like my personality is. Like I'm fine with just listening if another person wants to talk. But I think that's like today's coaching society is like, oh, I have to have an answer right away, instead of letting it kind of work through itself. Sometimes the best coaching is saying nothing. Like, do I have to say something after every single pitch in a bullpen? Do I have to say something after every single outing? Like, sometimes we have a bad outing and it was just the hitters were better. Like, it doesn't mean we have to change anything. So I can relate to that as far as like, I like the silence sometimes. It lets you collect your thoughts instead of jumping right into something.
Yeah, now I feel like I'm gonna be extra silent.
That's all.
Yeah, no, I was about to jump in there because I thought you were just gonna sit there and just be silent.
I thought about it to be a dick.
I actually was gonna jump in anyways, though. I mean, you brought up a good point of sitting there and listening, and I'll relate it back to sort of corporate America. And I talk a lot about I've reached out to different people, and the different organizations that I've worked for and had meetings similar to this, one-on-one meetings, just to learn about what they do and sort of their path and what made them successful, mistakes, etc. And now that I'm a little bit further in my career, there's people coming out of college, starting their career, and they're like, well, what should I do? And I'm like, literally just reach out to people and talk to them. And like, well, what do I talk to them about? Like, why would they meet with me? And I'm like, my first advice is the number one topic everyone loves to talk about is themselves. So literally just ask them questions about themselves and let them talk and actually listen to it.
Yeah, no, that's I can't remember the book I read, but yeah, it's most people, like when you do something, you're like, oh wow, like I wonder if anyone saw that. Like, are they, judging me? It's like everyone is so consumed with themselves, they probably didn't even see what you did. Like people like to talk about themselves. People are enamored with themselves, and it's like that's a great point. It's bring up something that relates to them, do your research, and let them talk, and then just sit there and listen. And they're going to put you at the top of the list because they can relate to you somehow because they talk about themselves. Yeah, I love that.
I have an observation on that, guys. So, people love to talk about themselves, but I believe that people don't do enough for themselves. And that, like, to me, that's one of those things I really struggled with, that I don't think I was selfish enough at the right times in my baseball career. And like Banko, as your friend, roommate, whatever, I would honestly say the same thing about you. Like, I think you were overly coachable. Like, to me, you should have been more selfish. Like, you made gains and then you would change to better suit like what somebody wanted instead of like what was best for you. Like, then I know you deal with similar stuff all the time, and all like with all the different hats you have to wear. But even like in the personal, like, this goes back to like the personal setting. Like, I'm sure that your wife at home, like living in the family, like there has to be a time where like you have to say no to what's going on at school or no to what's going on at the business to make time for yourself.
Yeah, and that was one thing I had to learn because being an entrepreneur, like nobody's going to care about your business more than you do. So like I wanted to work the hours, I wanted to put in the extra time. Like my first few years, like I was working 7 days a week. I was working to 10 o'clock at night, 6 nights a week. Um, and that was a strain on my girlfriend at the time, wife now. Like she's like, this just isn't sustainable. Like I'm never seeing you, you're not taking care of yourself. And that was my main point, being like a high functioning introvert. That was another side of that, kind of what I was talking about, is like making time for yourself, because sometimes you can be too accessible. Like right now I have 6 different texts from players that, like before, like I'd be answering them right away. I'm too accessible. Like I'm giving them feedback. I'm doing all this stuff where like you just have to put the phone down sometimes. You have to disconnect. And it was getting to the point where like my head was always running and I couldn't like fall asleep. Like I'd have to lay there for like an hour every single night before I could fall asleep, because my head was just constantly going like, oh, what could I do with this guy? Or what could I do to improve our processes at work, blah blah blah. And it's like I got to take time away. I got to give time for myself, give time for my wife. And I think the hardest thing is my job and hobby are the same. So it's like, what do you do at that point? Like for me, like my hobby is baseball. Like that's been my hardest struggle. And if you guys could give me a good answer, that would help me with my wife all the time. Cause she's like, oh, why don't you just do your hobby? It's like, all right, well, I'm going to go sit down and watch some video and coach this kid, because that's my hobby. That's the hardest point for me. Silence.
Yeah, there it is. Adam's counting in his head now. He's like, 5, 4, 3, 2.
So I'm using the breath strategy now. So speaking of life at home, what I try to do when like Corey, my fiance, when we get elevated about anything, so tying my own personal life into this, one of the things that I try to do is I try to give time for both of us to take a full breath before the next person hops in to say anything. So I might not be the best radio, but maybe Banko's inspired me to incorporate that here too.
Yeah, we're making you self-conscious. It's all right.
Good.
I would say
Insecurity unlocked.
absolutely. I mean, Denton, you say you write a lot in journaling and all that. I mean, when you had those experiences of where you were laying and you were struggling to go to bed, I've had that experience in corporate America. I'm thinking of ideas, or like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and think of something. I'm like, I eventually got to the point where I would write it down so it was out of my head, and that helped me. Like just write when it was written down. If it was an email or whatever, I would write it. Done. It's out of my head. It's good. Is that sort of what some of your journaling is?
Yes. Yeah. So I usually have like a journal like with specific things. Like this one right here is like my, Lindenwood pitching one for this year, and I have ones from years past. But I have one next to my bed, and it was twofold. It was that was one of the reasons. Like I would sit there and I would write down what I'm thinking, and it just gets it out of your head. Like you hit it on the head, literally right there. But then the other aspect was I felt like I was having so many good ideas and I would forget it the next day. So like I would write down that, and then I could sit down and revisit it, because I was like, my head was going so fast, and like I would lose the next day. I would lose half of those ideas that I had. And I was like, man, like, so I didn't sleep and I lost the ideas I was thinking about. So it's just like, what am I doing at that point? But yeah, that's exactly what I did. Is I started, and then slowly as I did that, I was able to just go to bed at night. So it was just kind of like, it helped a ton. Yeah, for sure.
Do you wake up? So are you writing your dreams out too?
I guess, yeah. I can't ever dreams. I don't know. I don't know if that's normal. Like I rarely have dreams. That just might mean I'm not a very smart person, which I get.
What is it? People say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. That's me.
What I can tell you guys, putting a notebook next to my bed was both the best and worst thing I've done for my sleep. The best thing because I get my ideas out. The worst thing because I feel like if it's almost like you guys said it gets it out of your head. For me, it's like I wrote it down, which then just like pushes the next idea up.
Yeah, I don't have that many ideas.
Yeah, so he's saying he's smarter than us now. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, what the heck?
I needed to level up somehow after you guys knocked me down. I gotta assert dominance.
Yeah, no, hey, do what you got to do, man.
Dude, I seriously though am liking this kind of like personal track we're on with you, Denton. I don't know if you feel like we're uncovering too much and now making you vulnerable.
No,
Hopefully that's the goal. That's the secret agenda. But like when you talk about like making time for yourself, like so baseball is that escape for you. Like
yeah, exactly.
This is a question I've asked previously. I've talked about identity before. This has been like a big journey for me kind of over the past year. Like, oh, see you, Banko. I guess he'll be back.
Yeah.
So I guess there's no more awkward silences now if it's just us two.
Let's just wrap.
So like, have you ever had that identity struggle since it's always been baseball for you? Like when you transition from player to coach or coach to private sector, like do you have like an identity outside of baseball that you can rely on?
I'd say so. I mean, I don't know personally what that is. Like I like to joke around. I like to have fun. I think that's how I kind of, it's not all baseball all the time. Like I like to joke around with our players. I like to keep a loose environment.
Mhm.
Um, and I like to like make fun of myself a lot too. Like I would say, yeah, that's probably something like I don't even know what outside of baseball because I spend so much time on it. And everybody knows like, oh, like my wife's family, like, oh, you coach baseball and you have a facility with baseball and everything. Like all my gifts are always baseball or sport related. So like, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if I even have an answer for that. Um, but yeah, I no, I don't think I have an identity outside of baseball.
Hmm.
Um, which that's tough to say because it's like, I mean, what would you say like yours is outside of,
Yeah.
to give me an
Yeah.
idea?
I'm totally happy to share on this. And like I said, this was a long development for me,
Yeah.
because I really struggled when my career came to an end, just because of like the injury associated with it and like what my personal goals were within the game. Um, and what I what I began to realize is like how I dedicate my time. I do think this is common in the entrepreneurial world. So like I wouldn't say this is just special to me, but what's given me value in myself is recognizing that no, I'm not just a baseball player. I'm all in. Like that's how I identify, uh like self-identify is my personality type, or like who I am is I'm an all-in person. So for me, like initially that was baseball. That's why like if somebody asked me like who I was or what I do or what's important to me, what I love, the only answer was baseball. And then like when I was no longer playing, it was just like, is that okay? Like who, like I had this like internal crisis because I still would eat, breathe, sleep baseball, but I had no attachment other than working in it, coaching, flex pro grip, whatever. But I knew there had to be more to me and there had to be more that I could give. So when I understood that, like, no, it's just like whatever it is I'm doing, I'm going to give my all for it. When I understood that that's what it is, it's not just baseball. It's like I have a positive obsession that I can offer and like dedicate myself to. That really helped me out from like a personal identity perspective.
Yeah, I guess this is an interesting way of looking at like I really never identified myself as like baseball player, I guess.
Okay.
Like I always enjoyed the training aspect, being in the weight room, the training of pitching, but I always loved like when we did a program and like all of us got better, all of us succeeded. I enjoyed the success of my teammates and friends, and I'm not trying to sound like a really good person or whatever. Like I know that's gonna how it's gonna come off, but like I enjoyed the success of my teammates and friends getting better and achieving their goals than of myself.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where it led me into my career was I like seeing others succeed, but I like seeing other people not have to go through like the bad training that I did or the injuries that I went through, the missteps that I had, and being the coach that I wish I had, someone that was somewhat knowledgeable, but also I could relate to and I had fun being around. Like I had some coaches that, man, I just don't want to play for this guy. Like he's not making baseball fun for me. Like I want to make training and baseball fun. But it's like the summer team I played for, like we had, 6 draft picks on it. Like I never was like, oh, I wish that was me. It was always like, that's awesome. Like I want them to continue to play. Like those are some of my best friends still. Like Braxton Martinez got picked up by the Angels, and that's a guy I've known now for 12 years. My co-founder and business partner, we were on that team together with the 6 draft picks. We consider ourselves on there since we coach for the Astros, so we're one of them, I guess. But like his path, he's now the director of player development. Like I've never been more happy for someone in my life, but that's like a job that I dreamed of as a kid. But it's like I don't wish that was me. Like that's awesome that he got there. And like I think that was kind of I never really struggled like with being done with baseball, because I never considered myself like, oh, this is it. Like I'm a baseball player. Like it was more of, man, I love the coaching side. Like that's what I'm going to do long term. So I kind of went from being a player to being a coach with that kind of same make people better. Like that's the only goal. Like make people better and have fun doing it. I don't know if that's a better answer than my piss poor first one.
No, I mean, you had to ask a question, and that's totally okay. Like you said, this isn't something that you've taken the dive on before or really like analyzed yourself on. Like I know, like it's like, what do you see when you look in the mirror? And like for so long when I saw baseball, like, and I couldn't like, I no longer represented what I always viewed myself or expected to see. Like that caused a lot of problems for me. And like, I think it's cool. Like, I don't know. I was trying to like pick the word or the phrase that like I could like attach to you, but like, it's like you're the ultimate knowing fan. Like that's so cool. Like that's such an awesome place to be when you not only like you want to be in the trenches with the guys, but you also want to cheer them on for the success along the way. So like, yeah, like is this going to sound like you're the world's greatest person? It might, and good for you.
And yeah, and that's what I see when I look in the mirror. Like I'm just a really good person, like you're handsome, but you're also a good person. So it's like, and that might just be my mirror, and it might be a special mirror, but oh, we got another visitor. He's back.
She's back.
She's back.
So your wife's just basically the luckiest person in the world, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, she knows that too. Yeah. It's again, it is what it is. We keep saying that, but
yeah, I mean, Banko, like I know you cut out when we got into the identity stuff. We started to get pretty deep, and I'm sure that's why you got scared. So you had to leave. I mean, I've led the way on a lot of this identity talk. Like I'd love to hear like even your perspective of it, because I mean you went through a massive career change. Like I mean, from you like as soon as college finished, you were ready, just like, yep, business, it's finance time.
Yeah, I mean, first I would say, based on Denton's second answer, after you got some more clarity from Adam's perspective, it makes a lot of sense why you've been successful in the coaching realm. It's with that mindset of you want guys to succeed, you want to help them succeed. I mean, that is definitely a huge coaching thing. Like, I feel like a lot of guys just stay in baseball as a coach because they identified it as a baseball player. They didn't want to leave, and they might not be as good as a coach as they were a player because they don't know how to communicate that. They don't want the success. Might be subconscious, but I mean, I definitely see that's why you've been successful. So, I mean, sort of hats off to you in that. I mean, to give a little bit different perspective, I mean, yes, me and Adam were roommates. We were on the same team in college. Adam was pursuing that dream and all the way through, even went to grad school. I realized it about junior year that, I mean, I saw enough guys I was friends with, kids I grew up with, that got drafted either out of high school or out of college, and sort of saw that talent level and sort of got the realization of, all right, I don't have it. So it did look like I just jumped straight into sort of corporate America, but I did have about a year and a half Adam transition where junior, senior year, I was like, you know what? These are my last year and a half. I'm gonna enjoy it while I can, be with my teammates and just have fun. And I know this is it. I'm not gonna do the indie ball route. I'm not gonna sort of go down that rabbit hole. And I had a lot of conversations. I mean, junior year, I was a computer science major. realized I did not want to be a computer programmer, but it was kind of too late. So started having conversations with old baseball coaches that were in finance and reached out through connections with them, sort of got guidance from other people that have gone through that. So it really was just picking other people's brains, having conversations that sort of led me down that year and a half journey of, all right, let me look into what opportunities. And actually, I kind of got lucky in the sense I went to one of our finance professors and was like, hey, I'm thinking about going the finance route. What way should I go? And he's like, funny enough, I just had an alumni send me an email last week. They're hiring for this company. It's a great company. It's a customer service role. Just get in the door and then get in the door and then go. So luckily got that job and I actually started that job the week of my finals. So I hadn't even actually officially graduated and taken all my finals when I started that job. Job wasn't the greatest, but it did get me in the finance world. And right away after, again, right when I got in, I started connecting with people, getting their experience. And that gave me the backing of, this is what I want to do. I actually enjoyed this. There's still a, I think it was more, I've realized I played sports. I played baseball it's a game of failure, and you grow every day and you have to get better every day. And there's never an end, basically, with baseball. There was never an end. And I feel like that's the same in the finance corporate world. And that sort of gave me that path of, all right, there's still that competition. There's still a winning aspect. There's still data behind it, measuring if you're successful or not. And that's how I think I spun it in my sense. So I did struggle with it, Adam. It was just, I started a little bit earlier than you did.
Mm-hmm. I got you. I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. I know it's weird, like the stuff we've obviously had tons of deep conversations, but it's funny now, even like what we've gotten into on the podcast with other people present that we've never talked about previously.
Yeah. I get to just watch you
Well,
guys.
I mean, it came even when yeah, I mean, I didn't even know you could draw before this podcast, and we lived together for like 3 years.
Yeah, designing logos and stuff, and just, oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, I mean, so now Denton's just watching us communicate back and forth.
The best. Hey, I like to listen, right? Like, hey, we're being ourselves right now.
We're letting them decompress a little bit before we go back into them.
Yeah, so I mean, Banko, go ahead, drill him. We've already had him for an hour. What else you got?
I mean, I think a big piece that hasn't really been touched. I mean, you worked with pro ball and you wore a lot of hats in the pro ball role. You went to the private sector and now you're in college ball. I mean, looking at that's not a standard path, basically, is what I'm getting at there.
Yep.
And looking back at that experience, how do you think that benefited you now in your current role in relating to players, building the trust there? I mean, how do you think your different experiences that a lot of college coaches probably don't have, and how that's helped you?
Yeah. So yeah, most people go the opposite of college to pro, and I think that was more of just finding the environment, like we discussed with college, fit me a little bit better than pro baseball. But I think it touches on two things. You know, it touches on the pro side as far as relationships, kind of like we talked about before we got on the podcast, but also the concept of like the imposter syndrome. I think that was the biggest thing for me at pro ball is, okay, I'm a 26-year-old who has no pro experience, which that's kind of like a gentleman's club as far as in the big leagues is like you have pro baseball experience. Like those guys climb very fast. And coming from really only coaching college and high school kids straight to pro baseball and having that, man, should I be here? Like, should I be coaching Jeremy Pena right now on like how to run the bases? Like, should I be? I remember during spring training, I had Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez in one of my outfield groups. Like, those guys are going to be, you know, multi millionaires. Like, am I good enough to coach them as a 26-year-old So getting over that was one of the hardest things at first. Like, am I good enough to be, in a big league organization coaching baseball? Like, I wasn't a good player. I was started a facility. Yeah, we had a niche that a lot of people didn't have. Like, but that was something I had to get around. And I think the one thing that helped me was relationships. I think at Astros, Maryville, Lindenwood, that I've been able to do pretty quickly is like, you join, you have a team, and like you have to earn trust. So building the relationship with coaches, like, okay, like I'm here to work, I'm a hard worker. Anything you need, like I'll do. Like that relationship to show like, hey, like this guy cares, he works hard, and then you grow from there. And then with the players is like, hey, I care about you and you getting better, and like showing the knowledge that you have. And then they start coming to you asking questions, and then you're like, okay, like this guy's coming to me asking me questions on how to get better. Like that kind of validates like I should be here. Like they trust me, and then you go from there. Like that was probably the biggest thing, is the imposter syndrome, but then being able to build relationships to kind of get over that fact. And then when you go from the Astros, at the time, World Series in 17, the year I was there, we lost in the World Series. They've been to 7 straight ALCSs. Like that sells itself. Like you coach with the Astros, like private sector, that's those kids buy in immediately. And then when you go to Maryville, it's like, okay, that's a Division II. Like those guys trust kind of what you have to say. But you still have to answer the question, like, why are we doing certain things? But it just became easier and easier the longer you do it, when you go from that kind of, high point of like a perennial powerhouse of the Astros. So it's gotten easier every stop after that. But that was probably the biggest thing being with the Astros, is like getting over that imposter syndrome. But then, our fielding coordinator trusted me enough, like during instructs, and then that next spring training, like I did all the outfield development plans for everybody. I did, a lot of the throwing mechanics for the outfielders. Like they saw like what I was capable of and the ideas that I had. And then that kind of validated, like, yeah, I do belong. Like I can do this.
Banko,
Yeah,
you
no,
still
that
there?
makes a lot of sense. And I
Oh,
think that touches on a good point of, am I talking right now? Yes or
now you
no?
are.
Yeah.
Took a moment.
Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is great today. But I would say that touches on a good point of like experience and just taking the time it takes to just get that confidence. And I think that relates to everything. I mean, people want everything now, and I think instantly in every aspect of life. And I think it's been great in certain instances for all of us and certain things and getting things faster. But I think it's been a detriment to some people because they think that, oh, I'll do this one thing for a month and it's great. And it takes time, and having patience and understanding patience. I think that's a good perspective to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to like an earlier question, as far as like one of your like things that you go about every day that you need. And I think it's consistency. It's, hey, I'm showing up to work, and yeah, maybe our business isn't as big as I want it to be, but like you have to do it every day. You got to get out there and show the product you have and work with the clients you have. And it goes back to all our athletes. Like, you want to be a professional baseball player. Well, you got to do this every single day the right way. Nutrition, working out, throwing program. I think consistency is just one of my buzzwords that I always use with anything that I'm doing. Um, it's staying consistent, and it stays with relationships. Like it takes time to build relationships. And I think that was one thing that when you go into anything new is like, you don't want to just jump in and start changing everything and spewing a bunch of like knowledge. It's like, consistently build that relationship and then open that door as we go. Like you don't have to go in and coach them and change things right away.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those, at least that last piece, it's if you are there, the student will approach the teacher when the student is ready.
Yeah.
Like you said, with building trust, being consistent, you show you care enough, you show you have the knowledge base enough. They're they're gonna tell you when it's time. You know,
Yeah.
like it's but thankfully, like you've been or you've been blessed, whatever word you want to put on it. You've been lucky enough or just successful enough to have all these awesome experiences that have warranted athletes trusting you very quickly, whether it's from the schooling you went through, whether it's from your playing experience, whether it's from your coaching experience. Like you have a lot of reasons for athletes to trust you right away, which kind of leads me to something I wanted to bring up a bit earlier, and then you started touching on it with the imposter syndrome. One of the things that I was amazed, and it's me bringing up a chat we had on the phone one time. You were, I remember you voicing a concern about like, now that you're at this D1 school and now that you're trying to recruit and bring in new guys, it's like, how can you set yourself apart? And then we have this whole hour and a half conversation today about how like the amazing stuff you've done in the private sector, in the pro world, like all these notches you have on your belt. But like even when you like you're still seeking like am I good enough, or like do I
Yeah.
bring enough to the table? Like it's both like awesome that you're so humble, like that's an incredible quality, but it's almost to a fault, like from my perspective, when I
Mhm.
see how smart you are and how accomplished you are and like how much you have to offer for the people around you.
Yeah, I think that's, and I think going back to like the Wake Forest stuff is like, I always feel like there's somebody doing something different, getting these results at different schools or different pro teams. And it like, Robin Lund with the workload management,
Mhm.
like, oh wow, like what he did at Iowa was crazy. He's now with the Tigers, you know, he's got to be doing something, spectacular, something different. And you see the presentation like, man, like that's what I was doing last year at Maryville with my guys, the same exact workload management. And I think it's something that I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is, like maybe childhood, high school, college, whatever, but like I always think someone's doing something special, something different. And it's like, how do you beat those people when they have that? And it's in reality, it's probably not anything grand. It's probably just consistency. It's having these protocols in place and doing them consistently enough and having guys buy in. Um, but yeah, that's, for me, like there's probably always doing someone doing something better. And that's kind of what drives me though. It's like, I can't do what I did last year. Like I have to continue to get better with the things we're doing, the technology we're using, how we're looking at things, um, which I guess is good and bad sometimes. Cause like, yeah, like I remember that conversation. It's like, and what am I going to tell these kids in recruiting that's going to separate me or our school from others? Um, yeah, that's something that I'm always thinking about.
I'm curious if that actually kind of goes back to when we talked about identity, kind of circling back on things, and you like kind of being the ultimate fan. Like you want to be in the trenches, you want to experience with others, but you also want to cheer them on for their success. And I maybe there's a piece of that, like I'm just trying to put two and two together from
Uh,
like listening is maybe it is that like because you always want what is best for others, or you're always seeing these awesome things that others are accomplishing, that maybe sometimes it's hard for you to understand like or see yourself in the lights like, you know what, I'm the freaking man, or my program's the best, And this is why, like, we've done all these things. You're used to watching it instead of like seeing it like, you know what, like we won, we're the champions, we're the best, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that can be hard, like to see yourself as the best of the best.
Yeah, no, I didn't know this was going to be a therapy session today. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like I'm a fan of their work. Like it's what's probably best for the athlete, but it's like it's something that we could already be doing. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that connects a lot of dots right there.
Well, cool. I'm really excited to tell my fiance that we had another big breakthrough today.
Yeah, yeah. You're earning your dollar a day, man. You're earning it.
So I mean, I should probably shut up because I don't know if I can add anything more of value. At least I'm pleased with that one. So I'm gonna chalk that up on my end. So Banko, feel free to take us home. Maybe I'll sprinkle something in later, but I don't know. I just really wanted to get that off my chest because like I know like Denton, I've obviously been a fan of yours since we started working together earlier this fall. And I think that's one of the things that's both one of your most impressive qualities, but also something that like I don't even maybe it's something that I feel like I share with you as well. So I've been able to witness it. Like
Yeah.
I think you bring incredible knowledge, skills, and abilities to the table. But sometimes I feel like you're scared to say that, like, you know what? I'm unbelievably good at what I do.
Yeah.
And, like whatever, I should flaunt it. And
Yeah.
like I feel like that's something that I'm trying to get better at myself. So I mean, I appreciate that from you. I'm glad we're able to have this discourse.
Yeah, you just opened Pandora's box. I already said I was the best looking guy in the mirror. Like now I'm the best pitching coach in the country. Like this is gonna be tough for you to be around from now on.
Hey, I'm good with it. If it brings championships, I'm in.
Yeah.
Banko, take it away.
His wife might not let him back on the show after this. Might be a little too confident after this. No, to add my 2 cents though, I mean, I think that's having that perspective of never feeling like you're good enough is why people are successful. I think a lot of people that are successful, they think, okay, once I get to this point, I'm good. And then they get to that point, all right, what's the next mountain? I think that the bar always moves for people that have been extremely successful in life. So it makes a lot of sense with that personality. And I know we've been on here for about an hour and a half and sort of want to end it on sort of a nice, easy question. No, unless Adam wants to throw in another hardball after me. But I mean, so for perspective, obviously this isn't going to be released for a couple of weeks or a month or so, but we're at basically the end of 2023, the day before New Year's weekend. Looking to 2024, what are you most excited about sort of in your personal life and career life? What are you looking forward to in 2024?
Oh man, that's a tough question. 24, I'm excited, being at a new school, being at a, different level, like pro ball D2, now being at Division One. I'm excited to see these guys get out and compete and see what a OVC schedule is like, see what the rigors of a season look like. But I'm excited to see these guys and everything we've done over the last 6 months, like just go out and play and compete, and be judged by, wins and losses and not a radar gun and things like that. And then personally, I think I'm excited for like continued education opportunities. I'm excited to continue to learn, and hear from different aspects because at Division II, it's I didn't think there was as much like communication between different coaches and people getting together and meeting, but like meeting Adam this year and him connecting me with all these different coaches, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to connect with people and being in baseball full time, like I'm excited to see me personally where that kind of takes me, is besides like breaking my time between all these different things, like just being solely a pitching coach. I've always been a strength coach that does pitching. I've been a performance coach that does a little everything. Like this is the first time in my career that I've just been a pitching coach. So I'm excited to see kind of on a personal aspect where that goes. And then as a team, like I'm just excited for these guys to kind of get out and compete. Yeah, that's it. 24 is exciting. 24 is going to be a big year, and continue to get better.
Yeah, you got to win the national championship so Adam can cash in on his bet.
Yeah, it'll happen someday. He'll get a pair of shoes. They just might be like hover shoes in 20 years or something like that.
I'll take it. Hey, deferred payments. I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
Otani broke the bank, so I'm in. But hey, Denton, we really appreciate you joining us today. This was awesome. I really like the path we went down, and I can't wait to have you on again.
Oh yeah. We still got a lot to talk about.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, you promised us 10 hours, and I think we approached 2 of those. So we definitely have a lot more to cash in on.
I owe you 8 more.
Yep. Thanks again, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. Grant here. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you could like, share, and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you think you or someone you know has a good life story to tell, we are always open to guest suggestions. You can send those suggestions to our email, tworkpod@gmail.com. Thanks again for the support.